Whenever I tell my mom I'm going to teach a class about personal financial management, she like literally laughs out loud, because my mom and I have gone back and forth many, many times, all the way from a little kid when I get my $5 a week allowance, all the way up to probably until like just last month probably, about working with budgets. And me and budgets just don't really get along so well. In business, I can manage a budget in business, but in my own personal life, that's a whole other story. Um, and so with financial management, we talked about stress last time, and that was one of the things that brought up a lot of stress is financial insecurity or financial uncertainty. That can definitely bring up and cause a lot of stress. And so hopefully, with you all, you're here, you get an education that will help you climb that corporate ladder faster, or it'll provide you the foundation to be successful in opening your own bake shop, opening your own restaurant, opening your own hotel or bed and breakfast. And so the time that you're devoting right now is hopefully going to pay off in the future. And in San Antonio, with 1 in 7 jobs being in hospitality, there is a great opportunity for your career to take off, especially here in San Antonio where tourism is so prevalent. Okay. So essentially the concept is our income is what? It's money that's coming into us, right? How does income take shape? Like what's one way we get income? Sure. Our job. So our paychecks is income. What else? Student loans. Student loans is income, yes. Okay, anything else? What's that? VA benefits? Yeah, so VA benefits. So there's a variety of different ways that we can get income, all right? And then expenses is everything that we have to pay, all of our bills, okay? How many of you have bills that are on recurring schedules? Like they automatically happen. You don't even have to think about it. They just automatically happen, okay? Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing or is it a mixture of both?
Mixture of both.
Why is it a mixture of both?
Because it's good to know that it's on a consistent basis, so you know when you have to have that money, but at the same time, you won't always know if you'll have that money at that time.
Okay, cool. So you might have that uncertainty of, yes, that money's gonna go out every single time this time of the month, or, okay, is this month, am I actually gonna have the money to cover that automatic payment? Good. What else? Any other comments about that? You won't forget it.
Yeah, if it's like due on the 30th, but you get paid every 2 weeks, it might just not line up right.
Good. Okay. So sometimes, your payment is the first and last day of the month, or the 15th and last day of the month. Sometimes you get paid every 2 weeks. And so like you said, sometimes it may not line up. And so you may not have that right there. So you need to make sure you're planning ahead for those months where there are going to be some overlap and you have to prepare. Yes, sir.
You may have like some sort of confidence on the expenses that you're going to make until the next paycheck.
Say that again one more time, sorry.
You may have like some sort of consciousness of the next paycheck that you're going to have.
Yeah, so you're aware of the next paycheck that's coming in. I don't know about y'all, but like I finally canceled my Netflix because I was like, I'm paying $9 a month or $10 a month or whatever I was paying, and it was out of sight, out of mind. And then I also pay for my Hulu, and I don't pay for Amazon. Do y'all know that you get like a discount for Amazon for being a student? Amazon Prime. Look, it's your student Amazon Prime. Yep. It's the whole reason why I went to grad school. I'm just kidding, not really. But you have to use your student edu email address to verify that you're a student, and you get a discount on Amazon Prime. But so like things like that happen. My SeaWorld season pass is on a monthly payment. My Six Flags season pass is on a monthly payment. All those things. I actually, to be honest with you, I've never actually sat down to figure out how much my automatic payments actually total. And that's when I was like, wait a minute, I'm paying $10 a month for Netflix. I'm not even watching it. I've been watching Hulu so much lately. And so, sometimes you have to stop and look at those automatic payments. It's so easy just to enter into those. And of course it's going to be taken care of and it's great, but at what point does everything add up till you're just like, wait a minute, hold on, I'm spending way too much money on automatic. It's out of sight, out of mind. So it all has its, it definitely has its benefits because you don't have to worry about it. You know that it's going to happen. You don't have to worry about getting late fees and things like that. So our personal finances affect, your ability to go on vacation. your ability to go to the movies, your ability to enjoy entertainment. So that's on the personal side. On the work side, your boss or your company that you're applying for may actually run a credit check. I know when I was younger, in my unwise days, I was like, okay, you're gonna give me a credit card? Yes, please. I want a credit card. Absolutely. I will use that credit card. And so my credit score kind of took a little bit of a dip, and I really wanted to get a job at Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union because all my friends were working there, and they were going to be bank tellers. And I was like, this is awesome. And they're like, actually, your credit score is not good enough to be a bank teller. And I'm like, I didn't realize that was even something that was going to happen. And so, you have to realize that sometimes these are things that can affect your business life as well. I mean, if you're working on anything in finance,
Government as well, they do credit checks, financial status.
they want to make sure that you have the personal ability. If you're going to be managing finances for a major corporation, they want to make sure that you have the personal ability to manage your own finances as
Some
well.
government jobs, contracting side, make you do it every 2 years.
Every 2 years? Okay, to keep up.
Disclose like a full financial disclosure.
Okay, awesome. Let me turn my phone off real quick. Sorry. I set an alarm earlier. All right, so how do we maintain a good credit score? Pay your bills on time. Okay.
Low balances on credit card.
Low balances on credit cards. Good.
You actually have to use your credit.
Good.
Yeah.
You have to use your credit and then pay it off, okay? Or maybe pay most of it off. So we're going to watch a video here in just a minute about how your credit score is calculated. But essentially, it's just you want to build credit. You want to show and demonstrate that you have the ability to borrow responsibly and then return and pay it back as well, okay? So a budget. How many of y'all have a budget? Okay, how many of you stick to your budget? I'm getting better. It's it comes with age and wisdom, I guess. I don't know. I like to think that I am, but no, like the budgeting is a challenging thing, and you have to really be honest with yourself, and you have to stick with it if you have a financial goal in mind. So when I first started teaching about 4 years ago, I decided I wanted to set a goal to start saving money because my truck at that time was, I don't know, 8, 9 years old. Now it's 13 years old or something like that, 2007, 19, 12 years old. And it has 349,000 miles on it. So it's like, I know eventually I'm going to have to get a new car. So I need to start saving. So I just took it upon myself to basically charge myself $150 every paycheck and put it into savings, right? And so I put it away. And actually on my Randolph Brooks app, I hid all my other accounts except for my one checking account that I actually use. And so I couldn't see what was in my savings. Because if I saw my savings and I was like, ooh, that's got like $3,000 in it, maybe I can borrow just like a couple hundred. And then maybe I can borrow just this much. And so hiding it and being out of sight, out of mind, I don't know what the balance is. I just know that it keeps increasing. And so budgeting and actually building in that if one of your goals is to save money, actually budget in money that you are going to put away into savings and then stick to that. You also want it to be realistic, okay? So, if your rent, how many of you have an apartment or have a house, your mortgage, all that kind of stuff? If you have an apartment, what do they say is like the average amount of income that you need? 3 times your monthly rent is the suggested recommended monthly income that you have. And that is your net income. That is not your gross income. So they recommend you have that so that you have the extra 2/3 in order to pay other bills and other expenses as well, okay? So gross income versus net income. What is the difference? Who can tell me what the difference is between gross income? How about this? Raise your hand if you don't know what the difference between gross income and net income is. Be honest. Okay, awesome. So let's say I work for $15 an hour, okay? $15 an hour, and I work a 40-hour work week. Okay, that means my gross is $600. Is that actually what I take home? No, that's my gross. That's what I actually get paid. Okay? My net, think about, that's your take home. So the analogy and the image that I've always been given that really stuck in with my mind is if I go fishing, right? So I've got this pond here and I've got a bunch of fish. Let's just say for the sake of this, so I don't have to draw so many fish, that each fish is worth $100. Okay? So I've got $600 worth of fish here. I take my net and I scoop it up, and that's my net income. That's what I take home. All of my taxes, all of my insurance, all of my retirement, if you have it, all of that is what's left behind. Okay? And so you want to make sure that, yes, this is awesome. I've got this great job. I'm getting paid $15 an hour, and I'm working all these hours, but you want to make sure that you're always looking at your net income when you're forming your budget and not your gross income. Because otherwise, if you do your gross income, then you're going to be missing money at the end of the day. Your budget is always going to be short. Any questions about that? No. On to that, and then I figure out my monthly payments in order to pay it off without any interest. Okay, so there's ways to manage that. Fixed income. I'm sorry, I missed fixed income. What are some examples of fixed income or fixed expenses? Rent, your phone bill, your car payment,
Child support.
insurance. What?
Internet.
Child support.
Child support. Okay, what's that?
Internet.
Internet. Yes, I'm paying outrageous amounts of internet for Spectrum, but it's my only option. I hate that. Right? And so all those things are fixed. We cannot change them. We're either in a contract that we have to pay, like a lease, or we're on on our phones or whatever. We have to pay that. We have no fluctuation on that. Okay. Money wasters. Anybody want to be honest and tell us one of your examples of money wasters? Yes, sir. Oh my gosh, and they make it so easy with the app. I'm not kidding you. Like, oh my gosh, I can just hit one button one time and then hit pay, and my order's in, and I'm 5 minutes later, I'm in the store. Yes, and they make it so easy for you. So absolutely, yes, sir. Alcohol, good. Okay. It's a necessary evil sometimes. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
At Target, sometimes they have these little birds, and they're $5 each. And I think they're really cute, and I really like birds.
Okay.
So whenever I go there, I run to the section to see if they have any new ones. And if there's a new one, I have to buy it.
Okay, awesome, excellent. Well, that's maybe that's another. It's kind of inexpensive. It brings you joy, and so that might not. Maybe it might be considered a money waster, but maybe not so much. Okay, but that's good. That's a good example. Yes, sir.
Okay, so the problem that I have with money wasters, I really like buying pets. My last one that I bought a ball python, but I wasn't even trying to buy it.
Okay.
I walked into the store looking for a laser pointer for my cat, and I saw the snake. I was like, how much is this?
So you like animals?
So it was on sale. And I was like, okay, how much is it to get this with it? And then I end up walking out paying about $120 and stuff for the snake. And every time I go to the store, I know for a fact, don't take me to the reptile aisle, because I know for a fact I'm just gonna buy a nice snake.
Yeah.
I know that.
So sometimes you do have to kind of control yourself, Greg, and then to the back. Yes.
Well, two of the biggest ones I've seen, especially when I had people working under me when I was in the Navy and had to do financial counseling. Smoking, what is that, up to $9 a pack now? And Starbucks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Starbucks, I mean, I had people who'd go through 2 or 3 of them a day. And they're like, where'd all my money go? It's like, well, you're drinking a $5 drink 3 times a day. Where do you think it's going?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very good point. Yeah. I have my coffee fix. So at Starbucks, you can get an iced coffee with a shot of espresso. So it gives you the energy, but it's not as expensive. But it still adds up over time. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Did you have one?
Oh yeah. Well, most education people have every weekend or every 2 or 3 weeks, 3 days, sorry. we just go to Walmart or HEB to get those sweets, pastries.
Okay.
Yeah, so any time.
So pastries, absolutely. Just kind of going and seeing, so think about something that you're spending an excessive amount of money on, and is it something that is within your budget? Or now, of course, we don't want to, I'm not saying you got to go bare bones and unless your goal is to save a lot of money. Sometimes you need that little bird. Sometimes you need that little pastry just to kind of help boost your spirits and relieve that stress. But if you're eating Whataburger twice a day for every single day, I'm not that bad yet. But I'm at least twice a week. I've earned way too many rewards. Yes, sir.
I think Amazon is making it so
easy.
Yes, absolutely. Right? And when I first moved into my apartment, it's like Amazon Prime, yes, please, I want that. And 2 days later, it's in my apartment. And I was like, at one point, I was like, okay, I've got to stop. I've got to stay off Amazon because I was ordering stuff that I didn't necessarily really need. I wanted it, but I didn't really need it. And so that's the kind of thing we have to think about. Last one. Yes, ma'am.
Amazon is like a social media to me. Like when I'm bored, I just go on Amazon and see what I can get. It's so bad. I don't need stuff here, but I want to see what they have. I'm just like, okay, I like that one.
You can always put it into your cart and then delete it later.
And then it gives me notifications. Blah 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 is still in your cart.
Exactly, yep. Or you're on Facebook and they've connected the ads, so whatever you were looking at Amazon is now showing up on your feed. And yeah, technology is brutal. Okay, so as we're going into talking about money wasters and whatnot, we want to identify debt. Okay, so the loan is the money that we're actually going to borrow, and the interest is the money it costs you to borrow that. And so every loan comes with interest. And so not every loan, but most loans come with interest, and they can vary in percentage rates. They can be very high, they can be very low. And so you want to make sure that if you are, how many of you do not have a credit card? Okay, all right, good. When you start looking at credit cards to establish your credit, be very selective in what you want, what you're doing, especially in college. And I don't think it's as bad as it was before. I think the federal regulations have kind of sunk in a little bit. But I remember when I was in college, I was 18 years old, like every day there was 2 or 3 credit card applications in the mail for me, right? They always were like, come get our credit card, get our credit card. When I worked at North Star Mall at the Cheesecake Factory, I was a server and baker. And then I was transferring to be the assistant lead trainer for the store. And the lead trainer required you to dress professionally when you were doing training sessions. And so I was like so excited. I was going to celebrate that I got this new kind of promotion. So I went to Express Men. I was trying on this pair of jeans, which had nothing to do with my professional attire, but they were real cute. And the lady was like, well, if you open an account today, you get 15% off. I was like, okay. So here's my credit card, run my credit, and she comes back, and yes, you've got a $1,500 credit limit. So you can charge those pants and whatever else you want, and you get 15% off today. Wonderful. So then I can take my bag and I walk over to J. Crew. And they go to J. Crew. Well, if you open an account today, you get 15% off. Wonderful. That day, I opened an account at Expressmen, J. Crew, Banana Republic, and then the next day was The Gap. It took me almost 2 years to pay off those balances just from what I bought that day. Because department store credit cards have some of the highest interest rates, almost 28 to 30% interest rate. It costs a lot of money to borrow, okay? For those. And so you want to, as you're investigating what credit card, if you want to establish credit, it's important that you look at what credit cards have decent credit interest rates, if they have an annual fee associated with it. There's all these things that you want to consider. About 4 years ago when I started teaching this class, I signed up for Credit Karma because I've been seeing all those ads for Credit Karma, the free credit report, all that stuff. I have to tell you, there's a lot of free credit programs out there, but Credit Karma has done well for me, and they do a great job of suggesting credit cards, suggesting ways to bring up your credit score and to bring down your debt ratio. And so if you don't have that, maybe look into things like that because it helps you monitor it, especially in a day and age with where identity theft is so prevalent. Every time a new credit card is open, Credit Karma alerts me that I have a new credit card account. And I can say, yes, that's the car that I just bought. Yes, that's the credit card that I just opened, or whatever. And so if it's something that I get, I'm like, wait, I didn't do that. And I can immediately address it right then. So I recommend something like that if you have it available. Sometimes through your credit union or your bank, they might also offer services like that as well. So be aware of what you have available, okay? I'm gonna watch these videos here in just a moment. I don't want to pause the video, but we're gonna watch a video about payday loans. How many of you are familiar with payday loans? Okay, if you're not, you're gonna get very familiar with it here in just a moment, okay? This is something that it's very important for you to ask for help. If you feel like you are getting to a point where your debt is unmanageable, it is okay to admit that you've made a mistake and that you need some help. You know, my parents have been I've been very fortunate. My parents lend me money from the Uminski Bank and Trust, as my mom calls it. She also has a spreadsheet account of what I owe my parents. So she's it is an interest-free loan, but it has definitely been, it has been definitely beneficial for me to have that. But sometimes you need to have someone that helps you. You need to find some way to get some help because, again, that stress, that weight of that debt can cause so much stress and so much anxiety that it can almost affect how you work and how you deal with your work life as well as your personal life. And so we want to try to do the best we can. If you need help like that, just find a counseling service to help you get that under control. Okay. Prioritize your debt. Figure out what is the most important to pay off. It's not always the highest balance card. Sometimes, you know, it's been recommended from a lot of different financial counselors that you just start plugging away. And if you might want to focus on your lowest balance so you can get that paid off and be done. And whatever you were paying on that, you add that on to the next payment of whatever your next credit card is or your next bill is. And so you're used to paying that amount each time. When I bought my car back in November, I got some really great advice from the financial person, the loan person at the car dealership, because I deferred the payment for 2 months. But he said, go ahead and make your car payment to yourself for 2 months and put that in savings. And then that way, if for whatever reason, later on down the line, you're always 2 months ahead. You always have that savings, and you can pull from it if there's a time that you cannot make your full car payment. And I was like, wow, that's really brilliant. I never would have thought of that. And so yeah, there's definitely ways that you can get creative, and sometimes you need somebody else who is an expert, who's a professional at it, to help you kind of realize what you can do. Sometimes it's just like, you know, it's just like your messy apartment. Where do I even begin? Where do I start? And so sometimes it can feel overwhelming like that. Okay. Student loans. How many of y'all have student loans? I do. Oh my gosh. Only a couple hands? I am impressed. Wow. Okay. So I'm shocked and impressed. That's fantastic. Good for y'all. But let's talk about student loans just for a moment anyways, because at some point you may have to borrow student loans. And there's something that is so crucial that I wish would have been driven home to me. Now, today, they do a really good job of having financial counseling that you have to go through before you could actually accept student loans. And so, but before, back then, it was just somebody in the student financial aid office telling me this is what an unsubsidized loan is. And I'm like, okay, that's money, and I need money. So wonderful, I'll take that. Okay, and so my example is I borrowed $1,500 back in 2007, I believe, when I was first coming back to school, and it was an unsubsidized loan. So we talked about how loans have interest, right? A subsidized loan means that the government is going to cover the cost of that interest while you are in school. An unsubsidized loan means that the moment you take that money out, the interest starts adding up. Okay? That $1,500 loan that I took out in 2007, which I completely forgot about, that was unsubsidized. When I graduated from Texas A&M University San Antonio in 2014, we had to do an exit counseling, and I looked, and that loan was over $7,000 because it was unsubsidized. Back then, they told me what unsubsidized was. They told me just that. The interest starts accruing as soon as you take it out. I didn't know what that meant. I mean, I understood the words, but I didn't really know what that meant. And so as you are borrowing, it's important that you are doing that wisely, okay? This is a great opportunity. Let me talk about a scholarship. I have a couple of handouts. I can make copies if you want it, but I also will post it on my door. This is the Phillips Family Scholarship. So Phillips Entertainment is the family that Phillips Entertainment is the company that owns the Guinness Book World Records, the Haunted Adventure, the Mirror Maze. They own one more downtown. They own the Buckhorn Museum, and they own the Extreme escape rooms. They have 2 locations. And so Davis Phillips and his family owns that. And they started this last year. And this is going to be awarded end of October at the Tourism Council Gala that's going to happen at the Whitty Museum end of October. It's a $2,500 scholarship, okay? That's basically will cover everything you need to cover for at least 1 semester, including books, tuition, fees, all of that stuff. So $2,500 scholarship, the deadline is October the 4th, so it's coming up pretty soon. You need 2 letters of recommendation. You need an official college transcript and a 500-word essay. That is it. That's all you need, okay? The Hotel Association did a scholarship earlier this year in May at their gala, and they had 9 applicants apply, and only 3 of them were eligible because the other 6 did not do all the requirements. So if you're going to apply for a scholarship, make sure you have a little checklist and you're like, yes, I got that done, okay? If you're going to ask for letters of recommendation, okay, you need to give that person plenty of time to get that in and not the day before as your deadline. You want to make sure that person knows when that deadline is, okay? You also want to make sure that you have a generally good idea of what that recommendation is going to be, okay? So if you are
always taught to write it yourself, write the recommendation, give it to them, and let them tweak it to how.
Okay, that's
just how I was taught many years
That's
ago.
a good recommendation, and some people actually would prefer that.
Some aren't going to make any changes; they're just going to sign it.
Yeah.
Others will.
Absolutely. So that's something that's a good point. Thank you, Greg. So some people, I usually will write a letter of recommendation, but I've actually had professors that I've applied for scholarships, and they said, why don't you write the letter and then give it to me, and then, because also in that letter of recommendation, you kind of want to include things that you do outside of school, if you're like a volunteer, and that's sometimes the things that we don't know, professors don't know. But if there's somebody in your life that's not a family member or a super close friend, or someone that you know through church, or someone, those are good people to get letters of recommendation for. Someone who can speak to your character and who you are as an individual, okay? Your college transcript. Okay, if this is your first semester, it might be your high school transcript. And then in your 500-word essay, you might mention that you're a brand new student, and it's asking a 500-word essay describing how your current job in the travel or tourism industry will influence your plans for future education. Okay? If you're not working in the industry right now, your job is a student in a hospitality program. So how is that going to influence your job, your career in the future, okay? So I'm going to leave these up here. You can come pick one up. I will leave one and post it outside my door. And then all the information is due by October the 4th. That's Friday, just a couple of weeks away, okay? Yes, sir.
Do you have to have a specific GPA?
There's nothing that says anything about GPA on this. Oh, wait, hold on. It says yes. Eligibility. Students must be working full-time or part-time in the travel tourism industry. Okay, so you do have to be working full-time. Sorry. You're currently enrolled in a post-high school education, 2 or 4 year, and you must maintain a cumulative GPA of 2.5, minimum 2.5.
Okay.
Okay. So if that's something that you're struggling with, then that maybe can be a goal of yours to bring your GPA up so that you do qualify for scholarships in the future. Okay. Sorry, I missed that eligibility part. I was just looking at the requirements. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns about that? The other scholarship that I just got emailed, they do it in the spring, I believe, is Mission Restaurant Supply, and they pay for your entire college. It's not just a one semester thing. You apply for it, and even if you're already enrolled, they'll pay for the rest of it. But high school students, they'll pay for all 2 years. But if you're already enrolled, so as soon as I get that, she just sent it to me, I think 2 days ago, and the application isn't live yet, but the requirements and the criteria are listed. So I will get that posted in Canvas so you can start that 500-word essay, okay? So we talked about federal and private unsubsidized, managing your credit. Do not accept all credit card offers. You want to make sure that they're going to work for you, okay? Your credit report, and we're going to talk about your credit report and your FICO score here in just a minute. We'll watch a video of how that's created and how that's measured. Let's see. Begin savings now for any kind of short-term or long-term goals. Again, it could be $5 a week. One less Starbucks a week. You can put that aside for savings. It could be one less Whataburger, which is like $10 now. It's crazy. So you can put that aside and put that into savings, and you can see how quickly that can actually grow relatively quickly. Yes, sir.
What about those investment movement? I mean, financial.
So if you have like a financial advisor, a financial company that can help you get set up with an IRA and things like that, I'm not going to go too much detail about that, but that basically can help you with your retirement. So after you are done working and you're going to retire, you can start building that. My parents were very, they had a lot of foresight, and so all 7 of us kids, as soon as we graduated high school, I know 7, that's shocking. As soon as we graduated high school, the first 4 years, they paid $50 a month into an IRA for us. IRA. And so that's something that they were able to do for us to teach us. Of course, all my siblings, I think they all continued paying into it. I'm the black sheep of the family, so I did not. But maybe now as an adult, I can start paying into it. I don't know.
Are you the youngest?
I'm the 6th of 7. I was supposed to be. He's 4 years younger than me. He was a surprise. But I'm not bitter. I'm just kidding. Actually, no, I'm kind of glad that he came around because, again, I'm the black sheep of the family. All 7 of us went all 4 years to Judson High School, and I ruined a few teachers. I ruined the Uminski name, so he was able to go back and, kind of bring us back into good graces and redeem us. I was not the best student when I was younger. All right.